Alright, welcome back. It's Sunday, November 30th. Doing the update after Steve's birthday. I would say we're mostly successful. Obviously, we need to get the tortoise machines in. It tends to be a little bit annoying. The frogs aren't powered yet. Perhaps the flex track popping out because, like I said, basically right inside here. We still have the gaping chasm here. We tried something that didn't work out too well. Most of the interlockings are just temporary track right now. 3 more sets of crossovers are our ramp meters, which I really like. A little kludgy, but for now, Steve can pick the colors. I like the colors he picked. I think they look pretty sharp. Alright, one of the things I decided to make up here was this little dwarf signal. Pretty nice. We're going to put this in, at least for now, coming out of the branch line onto the main. I did have, I believe these are NJ International dwarfs, but I was looking for something a little more realistic, a little more scale size. You can see the difference here. If I can, you can kind of see the difference to them. These are okay. These are from the old layout. And they work fine, but I wanted something a little bit more realistic. So these are from they're kits, and it's tiny. I definitely had my magnifying glasses on to assemble this. They're available at showcaseminiatures.net. They have a lot of good stuff there. If you haven't been to their site, check them out. They got some. I also bought some good electrical line, utility line type stuff from them. So that's the kit there. Pretty nice little kit. It's got this really tiny, although it's sold separately. Let me show this here. I know Steve can zoom in on that, but they do have a tiny little LED. It's kind of unique. Sold separately, but it's 3 colors in one: red, yellow, green. Really little. Obviously it fits inside here. The instructions are a little bit lacking, in my opinion. They just didn't give you some details. To drill out the main head, you need a 1/16 inch drill, and to form the visor here, you need to roll it over they actually have to say a number 31. I'm not sure who has a number 31 drill bit. It's .120, which is just a hair under an eighth. So I used an eighth inch drill bit and assembled it. And I found that stuff out by going to, these are instructions for one of the target signals. A little more detail here. They talk about you know, cleaning out the signal head with a 1/16 and rolling the hoods over there. There's the 120, which, if I did a reference, is number 31. So and then just glued it together. Glued it together with some super glue, and then glued the lens in with some canopy glue, and that's it. Now I decided to put it on a little base here, just because the wires coming down are really thin, and to try to feed it through a really tiny hole would be a little bit cumbersome. So this way I can make a slightly larger hole and then kind of hide it with the base, and then once you get some ballast around and everything, you won't even see that. So just a little bit easier to handle. So that's that, and hopefully Steve's able to focus on this little bad boy. I like it. I think it looks pretty nice, and I just painted it up with a grimy black, and now we'll go out and put it on the layout and get it wired. I did test it, obviously, but it seems the signals don't show up too well on the video, so I'm not going to waste my time showing it here, but that's that. And I'm only going to use the red and the yellow. Not that a dwarf would never show green, but on our layout it's never going to show green, so just going to use 2 of the wires, and we have our little adapter here to go through the resistors and hook up to the power and everything. So we'll get that installed in the layout, and then we'll see how it looks. So we got the alright, so we got the dwarf in, and as you see, it's red. It's red. And if I throw the switch, alright, to come out of the branch line, it'll go yellow. But if you bring a train in the block, and there happens to be a local coming in, it should hopefully drop it back to red, and then the local will come around in a moment. Alrighty, so here comes the local, and that will stay red all the way until he goes past it. Again, not perfect, but without dispatcher control, that's where we're going to do things for now. And then it goes back to yellow. And if I throw the switch, Lake City area trackage done here. Steve will pan over and just show you all that. So this officially now gets all the track, at least for now, of the layout done, installed, and everything done. This is the one area that I still didn't do after doing the factory, but it's all in now. Did a little bit of painting of the, if Steve kind of moves over and zooms in a little bit, did some painting of the track. Try to make it look rusty and kind of torn up. I took on here. I took a lot of the ties out just to kind of spread it out, make it look more like an industrial track. Painted it up. Still got to come back and do some painting where I had to add some other ties in. Probably do that today. This turnout, again, this is one of the first ones that I made. Had been sitting up here for a while, and got it installed, and it got feeders in. It got feeders here, and turned the power on, and right away had a short circuit. I was like, oh, what's going on? I thought maybe the wiring, but turns out no, I forgot to cut the gaps in the frog. So the turnout was done, and I had no gaps, so it was a dead short. So I came back with a Dremel Moto tool and then cut the gaps here. Again, luckily with these we have PCB board ties, so we're soldered on both sides, so it was pretty easy fix to get that cut. So that's done. The track up through here is all, even the main track has been painted. Going with some different colors, trying a variety of some Vallejo Model Air colors, trying to make it look a little bit more realistic. I think that the Rust-Oleum camo brown we use is just way too dark, based on some of the looking that Steve and I did and some of the photographs that we took of real track. It's much more faded. I mean, obviously you have some real ties here, or some new ties in to make it darker, but a lot of it, that color, that Rust-Oleum camo brown, is way too dark. So this is all done, and I have a temporary control here, just on the, let's put that out just to control this turnout. This is just going to be a normal manual switch. This is just a hand throw industrial track, so it's not going to be tied into signals at all. And then temporarily we put this in, and this just gives us normal reverse on that turnout, because we're probably going to move, we'll talk in a minute, we're going to move the fascia out, or the board out, we think. And I didn't want to do, this is going to have one of the key switches like we have over in Lake City. Didn't want to do that. You just have to make a board and then remove it and move it out and everything. So for now, just this normal double pull, double throw will work for that turnout. Now that one will be tied into the signal system, because if that gets thrown reverse, signals leading into this area will turn red. And that's just programming, because I have the board set up for it from behind. I think I showed that in one of the other updates. I'll have to take this off. This is my temporary lock. So actually I'll probably leave that on for now, but then if the turnout position changes, I can affect the signals. So that is the trackage here in Lake City, pretty much all done. Now it's a matter of determining if we want to bring some of the layout out a little bit to add some more scenery. So we'll take a quick pause. Alright, so what we're thinking is, again, one of the things we'd like to be able to do in this layout is have more scenery, structure, not so much structures, but appropriate structures, and like I said, not just track everywhere. So now that we got it up and we've kind of walked around it for just about a year now, we're thinking about perhaps what we can do to add some more scenery, because we kind of like that aspect of the hobby. So what I'm thinking of, this little mock-up here, we're thinking of perhaps extending it out a little bit here, because there's still a lot of room here in this aisle. Very easy to walk. In fact, you can even pass two people through it. So there definitely is some room. And then this area here, there's going to be an industry in here with this siding, which is going to be a little grain industry. They can load cover hoppers. So if we bring this out, that gives us more room to put a more scale size structure in there. Because a lot of the kits you buy, they're very nice kits, but they're way too small. I mean, it's because of selective compression and the fact that our layouts are tiny. You have to do that, but I like to build them more to scale. So that means you need more room. So if we can do this and still maintain an adequate aisle with room to pass and not get people hosed up, I think that might be beneficial to us. And if you kind of pan down there, that siding's got the other industry. And we're even thinking of perhaps, you can see where that board is, maybe coming out a little bit, because that's just an area where most likely you'd only have one person with the walk around, with the, the wireless throttle. So you can easily get down there. Of course, we need to have access to the tracks and everything. So we're thinking of, with this extension, maybe running it down straight and then bringing that far end out to give us some more room for scenery around there. And then if you pan around this way, over on this side here, we'd also like to perhaps bring it out here to get some more detail in this area. That will obviously lessen the aisle there, but again, that's just a pass-through area. I think there's some room, we could do some stuff there to get some more scenery. And then if we walk around to the other side, and you look, here's the track that was painted. This was originally that camo brown, and I kind of went back with an airbrush and tried to lighten it a little bit. Same thing there through Wallace Junction. But up here, we might be able to extend out a little bit from in this area here. And if Steve does a pan down, you'll see we can get another bit of room out there. And what we're thinking of, since right here is where we're going to have the Central Valley double track bridge and a little stream, maybe a road going through. The road will go up and access into this end of the yard area. Maybe have another little crossing over the stream, and then a road that comes up and goes along the tracks here. So if we bring it out a little bit, and maybe even bring out that corner a little bit, then maybe it comes around and we do something with it. Not totally sure yet, and might even be able to, since this corner has got a lot of room, even if we extended this out a little bit, just to give us some more area to detail, the kind of this little maintenance area that the railroad has is a little bit tight now, but there's no reason we couldn't extend that a little bit. Again, not to add more track, but to add more scenery, and this area here, that's kind of that maintenance facility. And this track here on the prototype Wallace Junction, and we're probably going to do the same thing here, is they seem to get ballast in there. So have one of those unloaders, and they get 3 or 4 cars of ballast in there, and then they offload it there. I'm not sure where they're transloading it to, but it seems to be pretty active. That's on the NS, but they do seem to get several cars, and the local freight will drop them off and pick them up. So very often we'll see cars in this siding, so we're going to duplicate that on the layout here. That's what the scene's going to be here. So that's kind of what we're thinking now. If he shoots up the long way, we probably can't do much up there, only because up that area you probably will have 2 people, especially if one person's perhaps working the yard or running a train, and the other person's working the factory. So we probably can't cheat the aisles there at all. At least I don't want to, just to make sure there's enough room for people to cross and to walk past each other comfortably. Now most of the time it's only going to be Steve and I, maybe a friend or 2 as well, so it's not going to be tons of people down here. But I want to keep that the way it is. I don't want to cheat those aisles at all, except in the real far corner, which we won't show now, where the foam is. Probably angle it a little bit so it's a little more it flows a little better. It can add a little bit more scenery there at that final curve there at the end. So that's our thoughts. We're going to start working on here through December. And now, real quick, let's go ahead and show the setup that we're using to paint the track. All right, so like I said, we went through and painted most of the track, not all of it. I ran out of paint, so I'm waiting for some more paint to come in. These are the colors that I like, but we got a fair amount done. This is just to show this little rig that we made up to do it. This is just a simple regulator with a gauge on it. The gauge is a little unusual in the read. I had to do some conversions. I don't know why. It's megapascals or kilogram feet per centimeter squared or something like that. No, kilograms of force. So the conversion to PSI is a little odd. I might look at replacing this, but basically we start with an air tank that I think I got at Sears or Lowe's or something like that, and put a gauge on it. And I have a compressor in the garage that I pressurize this up to. I can get just below 100 PSI in it. Then wire, you can bring it up through the hose, in through the gauge, so I got all quick connects on it. And then, like I said, I'm using the Iwata TRN1. It works out. It's been really nice. The airbrush has worked out very, very well. It's real comfortable to use for the longer sessions, although you gotta stop. One thing with the Viejo paints is they do tend to dry quickly, so you have to clean the nozzle quite a bit, just because it can get gummed up in there, but not a big deal. You can take that off and you can just clean the nozzle with some airbrush thinner. So that's our arrangement that we're using to paint the track. We started doing the painting of the track, and it really makes an improvement. Down here at the Eugene West, down there at the interlocking, you can see that's all been painted. So the turnouts are all painted. Then I ran out of paint. I was working back toward the diesel area. Okay, and we got the concrete ties painted, and then I came back in and used a rail painter that didn't work all that well to try to simulate the painting of the metal clips. Looks a little dirty and ugly right now. I don't know if I'm gonna keep it that way, but I think once you get ballast on it, it should look okay. And then we got, like I said, if you walk up this way, this end of the yard still's got to be painted. You can see all these turnouts are still the wood color, but then on the intermodal track and the main and up through the interlocking, we got all that painted. That does seem to look a lot better, I think, than before. You can see I don't know how this will show up. I tried to make that look a little dirtier and a little bit different color on the ties. And we do have to go back and probably throw all the turnouts because some of the stuff's missed. Depends on how the turnout was positioned when I was painting it. But we'll have to get some of that caught up, and then obviously get all the rest of this throat of the yard all painted once I get some more paint in. And it goes relatively quick once you get rolling with the airbrush and stop to clean every now and then. So that's I did kind of leave this interlocking a little bit darker color because the concept here is they did reconfigure the yard here when they added the intermodal yard. Now this lead here, this track, if we look up that way, what we're pretending is a little bit more. No, this way, Steve. Okay, this came off this track here. The far right came off the main line up there, came up this way, and then at one point through this turnout it went up to like a coal yard that's long since been removed and was kind of taken out when they added the intermodal yard. So this is like the original lead into the coal storage that they kept, cut short, added a new signal bridge when they reconfigured the interlockings, and then added the intermodal yard. So that's kind of the concept we're just working with here. Hey, it's a model railroad, so we're gonna go with it. And that's why this trackage is a little bit more dark, not quite as faded, because it's a lot more recent. And they also decided to go with concrete ties because they had some left over from another project, or I don't know why, but I wanted to try it on the layout, see how it looked, so they did that. So that's why this track here in this interlocking is a little bit darker. Same at the far end, because the concept is, that when they built this intermodal yard, they reconfigured both interlockings at both ends here. So it's a little bit newer, so not quite as faded, and then tied in obviously with the concrete ties on the main line. So that's kind of what the story that we're going with The other track, if Steve comes over here, this is a little bit closer. I don't know if you go up top and zoom down. Again, I'm not sure how well this will show on the video, but this is a lot lighter. This is using a Vallejo khaki brown color, and the light might be good enough to show that that's a lot lighter. It's a lot closer to the main lines that we saw on the CSX color-wise. Now, to me, it's still a little bit too monochrome. You know, it looks too uniform, so I might want to come back and, you know, add some dark ties here and there, and even spray some different colors of brown, tan, khaki in there to kind of make it look, give it some visual variety. Because I know when Steve and I were out on the bridge, the track is not the same. The ties are not the same color. They're light. They're definitely lighter than, like I said, than this old bad boy here. That's what we originally used. Way too dark, in my opinion, unless you do a new track. I don't like this, but was recommended, so I tried it. Won't do it again. So we need to come back in, and that's why I went with a lighter shade here to kind of match more of the prototype that we saw. But we don't want to agonize over it. It is just a layout. I want it to look good, but not spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to, which you could easily do. Again, the old paralysis by analysis. You could do way too much worrying about the track color. So got it good when I get it colored. Come back when I get some of the paints a little bit darker. Add some more shades in through here, and then done. Call it a wrap. And then I think once we get the ballast down and tie in with the scenery, it should look a lot better. Certainly better than the plain brown, shiny color that comes with the original track, and I think even better than the. If you come over here real quick, this is what we originally had painted, the camo brown, and I tried to lighten it a little bit here and there. It's okay, but I still think it's too dark. But you know, I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's not worth all the aggravation. Did lighten it throughout the track. I'm not sure how well the light will pick it up, but visually you can see some variation in shades, light to dark, throughout the track. So we're gonna again pretty much let it go. I think once you get it ballasted, it'll be fine. Might come back in here and there again, do some new ties, real dark, you know, replace ties here and there and whatnot. But so that's that. So like I say, we got actually all the track in now. Got to finish up doing some more painting. Think about how we want to perhaps extend the layout out for some more scenery and structures, and then really seriously get into the scenery, getting the foam out of the aisle on the layout, and start building the scenery up. That's probably the next real big step that we'll take as we roll through December. All right, so almost exactly 1 year ago, on Steve's birthday, we ran our first train on the layout. So in celebration of Steve's birthday, we've recreated said train, and now we're going to show some running on the layout 1 year later. This is it exactly as it was 1 year ago today. And your host for this run is BNSF 5832 with Steve at the throttle. Enjoy.